Hello, dear parents and guardians of excellent and exceptional teenagers. I welcome you to an exciting episode of Teens Talk Sessions with me. My name is Omotola Ogundiro and I'm a teens coach, and this is a platform where I discuss on issues related to teenagers. On this platform we learn, we relearn and unlearn every day. And the purpose of this session in different dimensions is to equip us as parents, as guardians, with knowledge on how to raise an excellent teenager who are positive influencers, culture shapers in whatever space they find themselves, as they grow into adulthood. I know it's a whole journey for them, and this is why we are here, partnering with you parents, to raise them well. And a big thanks to many that has been reaching out to me in one way or the other, on how to work well with your teenagers, without breaking them. A big thanks to you. Thank you so much. And I do say something that teenage period is a journey, and whatever input we add to it, it will surely show up in their adulthood stage. So therefore, I encourage you to keep doing what is best for your teenagers. Acquire more knowledge on how to raise them. Pray for them. Often and often, get a good mentor for them, and also make sure you role model to them good values and transformative principles of life, because they are watching you, they are watching us. And by the way, the first cohort of Teens Mentoring Academy will be opening soon. I'm excited, and I will be glad to mentor 20 teenagers for the next 6 months. And this is going to be a one-on-one closed session, with just 20 teenagers, as requested by some parents. And so it's going to be first come and first serve. Okay, so don't let me bust out the juicy part of the Mentoring Academy yet. And therefore, I want you to be on the lookout for the opening. And by the grace of God, at the end of 6 months, you will see a noticeable progress in your teenagers, because this mentoring and coaching session, it will cut across every aspect of their lives, nurturing their potentials, as they move up in their development and developmental stage, into adulthood. And I'm telling you, it's promising to be an exciting journey, with every participant, with every teenager. So we are getting ready, for the mentoring session with and so let's dive into another episode. And today, in this episode, we'll be looking at an exciting topic which I know you are looking forward to. It's social media and teenagers. I'm reaching out to you on social media. And so what does it have to do with teenagers? How much social media is too much for your teenagers? And how can you spot an addiction in your teen? The thing is, when almost everyone uses social media apps, just like I'm doing, you can't blame your teenagers for doing the same. No. But I know as a parent, you might be concerned that your teenagers they spend too much time on social media. Probably they are prioritizing it over their over in-person relationships or over their schoolwork. And as parents, I'm sure you want to give your teenagers the freedom to connect online. And I'm also sure that you hope to encourage them to focus on the most important things in their life. And so the question is, where do you draw the thin line between normal and excessive? So why is social media addictive? So what I often ask the questions, why are teenagers so addicted to social media? I'm telling you, they are not entirely at fault. Social media platforms, they are created, they are designed, to hook users like us for as long as possible. And that is because they profit from users viewing the content and the ads. They profit a lot from it. And I can tell you that this social networking, they have so many features that encourage users to stay on the platform for as long as possible, and also for them to return. And so let's look at some of the reasons why teenagers are addicted to social media. The first one is teenagers wants to fit in. Yes, your teenagers are naturally wired to crave for social connections during their adolescent years. And I'm sure that this need to fit in can fuel the social media addiction. And also, I want you to know that teenage brain, it experiences great satisfaction when connecting with others. And even sometimes when they reveal their personal details like their name, their age, it can have impact on their brain, which is perceived as a reward. And so interaction on some of these platforms, such as gaining likes, followers, all this increases the levels of dopamine, and this is also called a feel good hormone. That is what it is. A like, a share, and so a like, a share, or follow, they create that impression that your teenagers are gaining approval from their peers. They just want approval from everyone around them. And that means that social media use is tied to that feelings of pleasure, like excitement, that it keeps drawing teenagers to look for more, to come back for more. They keep testing for more, and that is it. If you're not very careful, you just want to go back to it. And the second reason is personalized content. Social media platforms, they are also engineered to create like a flow like state. For example, look at TikTok. It's popular because it is for you page. That is it. This the endless future, the scroll future, allows users to view short form videos, curated based on their likes and interests. And so viewing, liking, and commenting on these short videos, they can induce a flow state. And this can distort your teenager's sense of time, causing them to use the app for a longer time than intended. And Instagram is another platform that it uses that same tactics. In the reels feature of the app, look at the reels, just want to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and that is it. And the third reason is constant notifications. I discovered that many social media apps, they keep sending notifications to their users. Anytime a user they uses, they receive like a like, and there's some of the kind of like a kind of interaction. So when you like it, they interact with you. The anticipation and excitement of receiving those notifications from them can be very addictive. And also, when your teenagers get these notifications, they feel that strong urge to open the app, and this keeps drawing them back, them back to the platform. They just want to visit that platform over and over because all these scrolling features and all that. And the fourth one is opportunities for self-expression. Do you know that during adolescence, teenagers are developing, their own kind of identities, and I can tell you that this process, it enables them to establish their own belief systems, their values, and their own personal ethics. So this social media, we see, allows them to experiment with and to explore different identities. Teenagers can also, they can use social media to express their personality and interest. And that's where you see, I just want to be myself. I just want to express, this is me. Because of this, teenagers might spend a lot of time on social media. They just want to express themselves, and it's a platform good for them. So when does social media become a harmful addiction in your teenagers? Also, when you discover your teen's mental health and school life balance are impacted by social media, then you can consider it a harmful addiction. Do you know that research found that excessive social media use can increase the risk of depression, low self-esteem, stress, anxiety in your teenagers. Therefore, if your teenagers is struggling with an addiction, they might have image issues, and that's why you see them comparing themselves to others on social media, and they'll be like, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that person. And that social media can affect your teenagers' academic performance, and this explains why you may like notice a drop in your teenagers grades, or you see them falling behind on their schoolwork. And so let's look at causes of social media addiction. Low self-esteem, the poorer self-image some teenagers have used to make them to be addicted to social media. And so they harvest likes and followers, and sometimes this boosts their self-esteem temporarily. Another one is social anxiety. Do you know that teenagers with social anxiety, they typically avoid face-to-face conversations, and they might even perceive some social media as an easier way, very easier way to build friendships. That's where they make friends. Another one is depression. Teenagers who don't get the kind of emotional support they need, they might turn to social media to cope with this depression. Loneliness, that's another thing. Connecting with people online, they may be a way to for like a remedy for loneliness in teenagers. So they turn to social media to compensate for a lack of genuine in-person friendships or relationships. And you see them also, you can see the stress. The more stressed a person is, the more likely he or she is likely to develop like a social media addiction. So these things makes like a kind of like an escape route for them, from reality. And also fear of missing out. Your teenagers might fear losing their popularity, like being left out of inside jokes or conversations. And this all these things can fear that can trigger fears, and they just want to be on social media to constantly check their notifications. Another one is peer pressure. Teenagers peers may regularly, like they want to be regular on social media, making. So if you are concerned that your teenager might be addicted to social media, I want you to keep an eye for some of the following signs. When you see your teenagers taking photos, dressing in a certain way, or they are purchasing items, expensive items especially, to keep up with their image, online. You need to keep an eye. Sometimes when you see a teenager that is angry, or probably they are just angry, at anything, you should keep an eye. And sometimes when they give you excuses, to spend time with them, they just want to be on their social media. When they give too much excuses, I want you to keep an eye. Sometimes when you see your teenager, they are being deprived of their sleep, or probably they are telling you that I can't sleep, I can't, I've been having sleepless night. I want you to keep an eye. And sometimes when you notice that your teenager is extremely upset or throwing tantrums like a baby, like a child, probably when you set a limit for them or you confront them, is a sign that they are addicted to their, to social media. So, and sometimes when you notice that they are fluctuating in their assignment commitment, that means you need to keep an eye on what they do with their phone. And sometimes when you see them comparing their body or probably their lifestyle, to others on social media, and they keep telling you every time, you need to keep an eye, you need to watch out. And sometimes I've seen teenagers that feel guilty because they replied to a message lately, or because they didn't reply to messages immediately, so they feel guilty. You'll be like, what's going on? And sometimes when you see teenagers, when they are stalking on other people on social media, you need to keep an eye. There are so many signs, but you need to keep an eye as a parent. And I can tell you that there are some physical symptoms that you need to watch out. If you notice your teenager is consistently complaining of fatigue, I'm tired, I'm doing this, you need to keep an eye. Sometimes they complain of neck pain, back pain, headache, consistent eye strain and all that. That means they are they are too engrossed with their phones. You understand? I know a lot of teenagers uses technology in schools nowadays, but when you see these signs and they keep you notice them, you need to be very, very watchful, and you need to act fast, because it's just like I said earlier on, it might affect them, because it might affect their performance in their academics, and it might even affect a lot of things. So as a parent, how do we address the issue of addiction with social media by your teenagers? So one thing I have learned in my years of coaching teenagers, I discovered that like harsh parenting, it's a lot of time leads to bitterness, conflict, resentment. And that is why threatening your teenagers, or yelling at them to stop social media, the usage of social media will sometimes backfire, because they don't understand the reasons behind your yelling. So it does not work for them. So without proper guidance, your teenagers will likely fall back into their old habits. And sometimes teenagers are sometimes corny. They might even hide it from you. So temporarily you feel like, oh, they will hide it from you temporarily, and you feel like, oh, they've overcome it. But that is just a temporal arrangements by them. And so let me give you some tips on how to address your teenagers' social media addiction. The first one is, you need to discuss with your teenagers social media usage. You need to find time as parent or guardian to talk to your teenagers about the pros and cons of social media. They need to understand the essence, the reasons why social media is created. What is it for? They need to understand it. Then you talk about it. What are the advantage, the disadvantage of using social media? And I can tell you that it's a great time to remind them that what they see most times on social media isn't always realistic. A lot of them, like, they are like a mirage. A lot of them are not true. And so you need to let them know that they don't have to dress, they don't have to talk or look a certain way to be accepted by their peers, to be accepted by the society. And so you need to make sure that your communication with your teenagers in this aspect is solid, and it should be a two-way street. You understand what I mean? Like, you have to have like a feedback mechanism. You are not just the one talking. Hear their own views about social media, then you talk, then you converse. Like, you hear them, you can ask them why they feel compelled to be on social media. And make sure that as parents you listen attentively to their response. Don't interrupt them when they are talking. And I can tell you that this way you will learn more about the underlying issues. Second tip is, make sure you set rules and boundaries that are related to your teenagers' phone usage and social media usage. If you as a parent, you can work with your teenagers to create rules and boundaries. You do it together, not that you will do it and give it to them. It can't work. But you sit down with your teenagers to set the rules and boundaries together. And let me give you some examples of rules that you can set. You can discuss with your teenagers. You can like have a time limit for social media usage. You can get your teenagers to install apps that prevent access to these social media platforms once their time is up. So you are not stopping them from using social media, but you are restricting them with time. So once their time is up, they know that they don't have access to it. There are a lot of apps that helps in doing that. So they'll help you to regulate the quantity of time your child is spending on that platform, on that social media, and on that phone generally. And also you can agree on times when social media usage is not allowed in your house. For example, your teenagers, might not be allowed, to use their phones an hour before bedtime. As a matter of fact, your teenagers needs a lot of sleep, at least 8 hours. So you need to let them know that an hour before bedtime, you are not allowed to use phone. And you can also agree on what they can share online. Let them know what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Remind them that what goes online may stay online forever. So you need to let them know that what they are sharing on, on their social media are very, very, they should be personal. They should not share personal details of their, of themselves. They should be careful on what they post online, and also establish priorities. Those are boundaries that you can create with your teenagers. For example, you might have a rule that permits that social media use it's only permitted when they have finished their schoolwork or their daily chores, or they finish their housework, or they finish wherever you have so those are boundaries that you can sit down together to create with your teenagers. And just like I said, it has to be in you have to do it together. So you can create those boundaries, and it will go a long way, because you are not the one creating it for them, you are doing it together collectively. So they are set to to operate with those boundaries. Okay, so the fourth point I want to give you, as a parent, to help your teenagers to stop being addicted to their phones or to social media. Guess it. The fourth point is be a role model. Consistently I used to emphasize this, that as a parent, you might not fully understand, the allure of social media. Yeah. So there are some things that you don't even understand, but they understand it. But other things that that can keep you glued to your phone. There are so many things. A lot of us works on phone and all that. So your teenagers are observing, and they are learning from your behavior. They are watching you. Just like I said at the beginning of this video, that they are watching us. So if you are setting rules for them that you don't follow, they might call you out for being, hypocritical, like you are not doing what you are saying. So you need to be a role model to them. They need to see what you are doing. They need to observe. They are observing you, and they are watching you. And so start by setting a good example for your teens. Spend meaningful time with your teenagers, and be sure to to put your devices away when you are with them. I was guilty of this at a time, and so I had to learn from it. So when I'm with my children, and I put my phone aside sometimes, except it's so compulsory or it's very, very important. And so the last tip I'll give you is that be there for your teenagers. Many teenagers turn to social media, to remedy the feelings of loneliness or stress, which I told you that some of the symptoms of being addicted to teenagers. So while you might not be able to relate to your teen struggles all the time as a parent, so you can still make yourself available, whenever he or she needs your support. Let them know that you are there for them. I often tell parents of teenagers that when your teenagers knows that I can run to my parents anytime, any day, they will, when they are in difficult situations, they will run to you. They will not seek that acceptance from outside. They will seek the acceptance from you first. So listen attentively to your teenagers' problems, without judging them. Hear them out. I tell you, you were a teenager before, so ask them if you can do anything to help them through the situation as a parent. Don't criticize them. Put that in your left hand. Don't criticize them. Don't judge them. Ask them that, is there anything I can help you with, to be able to be less addictive to this social media or to their. So when you create rules related to your teens' social media use, make sure you are consistent with it. Make sure you are being supportive. You understand? Because I told you they are watching you. You can discuss these rules with your teenagers and set consequences for breaking the rules. When children or teenagers knows that there is a consequence for not keeping their word, to a rule or whatever you have set. They restrict themselves somehow, they withdraw, they, how will I put it, they know how to behave, let me put it like that. So you should also keep an eye on your teenagers' mental and emotional well-being. We have a lot of issues with teenagers and these days, especially in regards to social media, in regards to technology use, especially social media. So, and I told you that your teenagers they could be experiencing depression, anxiety, or body image issues, due to an addiction to social media. You might not notice this on time, and that is why you need to be very watchful. You need to be observant as a parent. And so in such a case, when you see that or when you discover that your teenager is depressed, or probably is not is all in, probably the teenager is always in the unusual state, seek a professional help like a coach or a therapist. And so I need you to, as a parent, help your teenagers, to learn so well on how to use social media. A lot of teenagers they've fallen victims of many of many vices and many atrocities, all because they are so addicted to social media, because they fall as a prey to a lot of predators on social media. And so you need to be watchful, you need to be observant. And so you can reach out to any coach. If you notice anything, reach out to a therapist. Please seek help for your teenagers and be friendly with your teenagers. When you are friendly with them, they open up to you. We are close to them. Of course, some people say, oh, you should not be friend with your children, you should not be friend with your teenagers. So if you are not a friend with your child, so who else do you want to be a friend to? When it, just like, put it in your shoe that if I have a friend, sometimes you have a friend that you have like, is like a confidant that you just want to talk to, and that is how it is between parents and children relationship. I hope this has gone a long way to help you, to raise your teenagers to be effective and efficient.